Hey, welcome y'all back to 3D Print Hub. Try and start getting back on track with these videos and everything. Just like to walk you through what's been going on over the last about week and a half since we made a video. Got a school teacher that is doing a model rocket, and we're printing off a bunch of pieces for it. So that's what these are right here. And that's what these are on the two big printers. I think she had a sizing issue because this doesn't fit the rest of the rocket. So I went ahead and sized it down for her and printed out the part, but I'm going to give her this part as well, just so she can see that, there's something not quite right here. But so that is one. Here's some more stuff that we've printed out. So these still need to be processed, but they're cord caddies for KitchenAids. A couple pieces of double stick tape, stick it on. Be more videos coming on these very soon. They're going to be on our Shopify. Then we had an uh-oh over here. Looks like it didn't stick to the bed, so probably need to check the Z offset on that machine. But that's what it was supposed to look like, is this one right here. This is for a Deadpool, for a cosplay person. So get that off the build plate and get it out front with the others. And here's another one of the cord caddies for the KitchenAid in a different color. This is kind of a rose pink, translucent. Pretty nice looking. They look good on the mixer. We've got one of our first prototypes on our mixer at home, but once again, there'll be pictures and stuff of that coming in the next video. So let's get all these off of here. So we can get them ready. There, let's put things where it belongs. Get these beds cleaned off so they're ready to go for another print. My trash bins. So those are cleared off. So let's go on over here. We've got a bunch more of these. So just get them. Get them all off the build plate so we can set them up front at the post-processing. Oh, this one says it's done. But I don't think that's done. You know what happened here? I have it happen every so often. Yep, it gets stuck. It gets stuck on the reel, and then the extruder wears a spot in the filament and doesn't pull anymore. And so this is what you get for a completed piece. That can happen on any machine. So it gets to go right there. Fun. Not like I don't already have enough wasted filament, but no, I really don't. I've got a bunch of people that come and pick up a lot of the waste filament and take and melt it down for art projects and stuff like that they sell out at their booths out at little street festivals and art fairs and stuff. So not all of it. They don't take all of it, but they take a good good amount. So I try and keep everything separated as far as PETG, ABS, nylon, PLA. Try and keep it all separated. That way they can kind of pick and see what they want. Plus all the excess on the spools, what I usually try to do is I've got this little drawer system here. So that's like when there's just barely one or two lines going around the spool, I just not enough to do anything with. I take them off, I throw them in here, and then I give it away to people. And that's also what I do a lot of times when I get down to a lot of these get to a point where that's not enough. That's not enough for me to do a whole lot with except for make one little bitty baby animal. So a lot of times I'll just set them out there and tell people, take it, you know, you can try it, you can use it, you know, whatever, you know, put it in your printer to print one small item with. And people like that, they appreciate it. So that's what I do with a lot of my filament that's running out. And I'm not going to sit and waste my time printing one small $5 animal when I usually try and fill my bed up on multiple printers. So I get, you know, that week's worth of product for out in the shop on the shelves themselves selling is done and over with. And I'm not printing a one-off here and a one-off there and a one-off there. It's not worth the time that it takes. So customers come in and either want a sample or talking about, and I'm like, here, you bought a spool of, or you bought this, or we just talked for 10 minutes about 3D printing. Here's a couple almost outs of some black or some white or some multicolor for you to take home and print you something small with. So this right here, and we got more out front that I'll show you. This is for an art studio. So the gentleman that got this, there's a whole bunch more out front, but he had a design that he had lost many years ago, and he had one single one that he had still in a little plastic case. They're open and hollow on this side, and this side is full of support. So once I remove the support material on this side, it'll look like this side. I call it the I-beam guy. He calls it the steel guy, but I like I-beam guy better. So it's for an art studio. They take them and they kind of color them after sports soccer teams. So we'll come out here. So that's what this whole box is. I've got two more of these light blue that I need to print, but there's red, there's dark blue, there's black, there's orange in here. So those all are sitting up here to get post-processed. I told y'all about the Deadpool cosplay guide. That's what this is. So on those big machines back there, you print these blades, cut them in half like this, so they set together. They're printed out of PETG at an angle on that bed. So these suckers are like 24 inches long. Actually, I think they're longer, but they're about 540 millimeters. So you can do almost a full blade. And then you glue them together like this, and then they do all of the basic, I do the post-processing, they do the assembly. But that makes for a much stronger blade than printing it in pieces standing up like this, where you got your layer lines going up, and if you were to do that, it would snap. Where with this, I can do this all day long, and nothing's going to happen. And then these are all the rest of the pieces that I need to get post-processed for them and cleaned up. So, any of you guys remember you used to be able to buy them in the store? These are shoulder pads, essentially shoulder pads for a hanger. So a guy brought in an original one, saying he can't find them anymore. You can't find, there's so many things nowadays you can't find that from 10, 15 years ago. So he brought one in. I remodeled it, kind of gave it our own little flair, made it to where it printed good. These are PETG, so they have a little flex and won't break the first time you squeeze them. And they go on coat hangers, or go on your plastic hangers, 7mm plastic hangers, and clip on to the ends and then up at the neck of the hanger to hang clothes on, so the shoulders don't get, like if you got a dress shirt or something, the shoulders don't get a crease in it from the hanger. They'll drape over this. So he ordered 10 sets, so there's 20 of them here, 2 per set. This right here is for a water testing company. So they use a drone to fly test rigs out to a lake or into a river and do testing on, take water samples for testing. And this right here is what they use. I've made them another one that's a lot smaller, about this big around, and that's for a different bottle that they use. That's probably about this big. And what this is the drone picks it up by this ring right here. This ring is actually printed flat on the bed to give it more strength. I didn't want it printed as one piece with this top, because then all the layer lines, once again, layer lines are our enemies. So you have to know how to orientate things to make them as strong as possible. But I made it to basically it can remove, and then we don't have to worry about it breaking. If it does break, we print out another one. But this top comes off, just unscrews. Just has threads in it. It unscrews. So this is the redesigned that. Right, so this is the new designed one, redesigned one, where basically what I've done is, if you look at them, this one's got a super thick, it's like 8mm wall. And I was like, let's save some material, let's save some print time. And so I just put these ridges on the side all the way around, and made the wall, the outer wall, a lot thinner. Resized the inner wall so the bottle would fit properly. And so what this is they've got 2 sizes of bottles. One will fit into here. Then the other one is the size of this and fits straight down into here on its own. And then the smaller bottle, instead of having a whole new one designed for the smaller bottle, we made this insert. Just goes right into there, and then the smaller bottle goes in. Then you screw the top on. It's like any jar. Try to screw something. And there you go. Then you set this. This is keyed for a certain way to fit in. It can actually only fit in one way, but in there, and it kind of locks into place. And then they grab it with the drone and fly it out. But one more aspect of this, so on the bottom, that sets in, like this is the bottom of that bottle holder. So these fins can be removed. On the bottom side, I put a threaded insert. So now for transport or replacement, these landing fins can be removed and then put in. This screwed on, and that's it. Now everything's secure. So they really like the concept of it. They liked the pictures I sent them. They'll be in this week to take a good hard look at it and hopefully order a few of them. All right, so that's about it for this here and those customers. Here's the bottles that I was referring to, the bigger one and then the smaller one that goes in the little reducer ring collar. And then there's weights that they have that go, and when this is off, you can feed it down into these rings. It's a little bit tough, but they will go without breaking them. I've tested it before, so that's about it for that. And then about one of the last things is printer repairs. I'm drowning in them right now. Okay, so I've got a ton of printers. I've got like 7 printers in here right now that I need to get repaired. I've got to get on the ball to get that done. I got whatever this one is. What is this? An Anycubic Cobra S1. I got one of those. I got an old Anycubic right here that needs to get fixed. I've got, yes, people still use these old Ender 3s. They don't want to spend the money yet to upgrade. So I'm upgrading this one a little bit for them. I'm adding a dual Z-Rod kit to it for them. I'm adding a mock-up direct drive kit for them. And I'm going to get it all tuned in, make it to where it can run at about probably 60 millimeters a second, which is almost twice as fast as the standard settings in like Cura or Creality. And it's like, why not? They want it, and so I'll do it economically for them. It's not going to cost them a crap ton of money. But their customers also know. I tell all the customers that, you know, I keep my rates down by, you let me keep it for about 2 weeks or so. That way I can take my time and I can work on like 2 or 3 of them at a time in my spare time, which I don't have a lot of spare time. You can tell by all the other orders and stuff that's going on. Plus, I've got designing. I haven't really showed y'all my aspect of designing, but maybe in my next video, I'll put a quick blurb up there on something I've designed. I just got an order in for a bunch of key rings for a birthday party. But, so I've got that one. I've got this A1 that you can't see because they wanted it with the case here at the store. So I've got an A1 there to fix. And then I've got another old antiquated machine behind us here to fix. I'm adding which I've already got it in, adding a flexible board and a magnetic sheet to it and getting rid of the glass and get it all, get it all scheduled, dialed in for them and calibrated and everything. So the last one that I've been working on, which I really didn't work on it, this is a funny story. So I do some work for this company, and their name's not on here anywhere, so that's good. So I do a bunch of printing for this company. And they've got this printer there where they do some parts to test sizing before sending it over me to do the bulk printing for them. Well, they said they were having all kinds of problems. It was clogging, it was this, it was that. I'm not sure, honestly, what's going on. So when I got it in, I did 2 things to it. So the Bowden tube, I removed the Bowden tube from all the securing points except for just this one. And then on the back, yeah, you can't really see, and I'm not going to mess with the machine, but on the back, this Bowden tube goes through a little securing point that's very, very tight and kind of restrictive and kind of pinches the tube. Well, none of my machines, I have it in that. So I did that real quick. The second thing I did was I heated it up to 280 degrees Celsius. I literally just let it get up to that temperature, and I ran a piece of cleaning filament down through it real quick. It was basically not clogged. Some gooey, almost like burnt PLA was down in there. So I cleared that out, and then I let it start cooling down, and I just hooked it up right here to some white filament because they wanted me to print these other parts for them that they couldn't get done. So I decided, well, that's going to be my test benchy for this machine. So there's the parts that they weren't able to print. But I did, so after I cleaned the nozzle, I hooked it up to my network. I went in on my Chrome. I looked at the bed level. I did a bed level. I looked at it. This side here was a little bit high. So I did what's referred to as the, I call it, it's the click. So I did like 2 clicks, made sure the motors were locked, which they were after doing the bed leveling. I did this one to where the bed would go down 2 clicks. So essentially what that is doing is the motor's locked, you're doing belt tooth skips. I just take a pair of pliers like these right here, and I grab a hold of this sleeve down here at the bottom, which I'm not doing it now because it's leveled. Counterclockwise takes the bed down, clockwise takes the bed up. I did 2 clicks. I redid the bed mesh, bed leveling, checked it out. It looked pretty good. It was off by 0.25 millimeters on this side now. And then I set it on to print. Well, first I printed these cards. So I printed these into 4 different corners. And the only issue I had was it had something for the top surface that messed up there, which most likely started down here. But that was all I did. And then I put these on to print, and it did just fine. So I'm thinking it must be their settings in Creality Print, possibly. Like I've told many of my customers, I do not use standard settings. All my settings are from myself, trial and error, what gives me the best result. But that's it. We're done for now. I went on my little rant. So until next week, y'all have a good evening.
We're new to creating this kind of content, so please share your feedback in the comments. Let us know what you'd like to see, or how can we make our videos more engaging. If you enjoyed this content, please hit like, subscribe, and share. Also, check out our website for more information. Better yet, mosey on down to 3D Print Hub store in Garland to introduce yourself. Thanks for watching, and hope to see y'all in the next one. Printing, always printing.